Hi, my name is Betty, and I'm a senior at Dartmouth. Today I'm going to be talking about one of my favorite pieces that I made at the ceramic studio, and that is this snobby decorated pot. So this is one of my favorite pieces because I was able to use a few different decorating techniques that I learned over the sort of year and a half that I'd been working and taking classes at the ceramic studio. I made this by creating a mug with a lot of clay on it and then carving away a lot of the clay to create this pattern here. And this is a bread and puppet inspired text-based decorative mug. And so I used that kind of technique, but I also used a technique that I used for this mug, which is painting a layer of slip or colored clay. In this case, it's white slip, and then carving away the white slip to create these patterns. So for this mug, I used a combination of both of those things. So I'm using white slip here, but I'm also adding these sort of knobs of clay to create tactile element to the mug. And I also enjoyed combining both these text and images. I'm really interested in like comics and sequential art, combining image and text. So that was one of the most exciting things that I've made at the studio, and I hope to make more pieces like that in the future.
Hi, my name is Kat. I'm a fourth year at Geisel, and I made these blue dolomite stud earrings at the jewelry studio. I made them because I wanted to make something unique for my upcoming wedding. And Case and Nellie at the jewelry studio were really awesome and found these stones for me to use. It was a really fun project for me to make, but I did melt the bezels a few times along the way. So it was a good opportunity for me to practice slowing down and redoing the parts that I didn't love so that I could try to perfect a project that meant a lot to me. The stones are a little bit different from each other, so the bezels had to be a little bit different too. So they ended up being more like sisters than twins, and I can't wait to wear them.
Hi everyone, my name's Haley. I made this at the jewelry studio, and so I made it because I was super inspired by some of the other people in my community, like my grandpa who makes Navajo jewelry. He made this ring, and so I learned how to set the stone at the jewelry studio, which is super important, especially when you want to make other items of turquoise, like earrings, necklaces, and cuffs. It was kind of challenging because I really had no experience, but it was super rewarding, and I'm really excited to keep making jewelry.
Hi, my name is Janice. I am a senior and also the Hopkins Center Woodworking Fellow. I'm here today at the Ledyard Clubhouse on this very windy day because I wanted to share with you a project that I spent a lot of my time at Dartmouth working on. This is the Greenland kayak that I spent almost 3 years building, and so I just finished this kayak last spring, and that's when I took it out onto the river. It floats, thankfully. It is a 16-foot skin-on-frame kayak made of pine ash, cedar, and cherry, and the skin is made out of a nylon, which you can see is a little translucent, which is lovely, so you can still see the frame. So this was actually one of my first woodworking projects. I think I had made a canoe paddle before in high school, but I really had no woodworking experience. I bought a book online for like $6 that was like a tutorial on how to build a Greenland kayak, and I brought it into the shop and was like, can I build a kayak? And Greg and everybody else was like, sure. So 3 years later, I ended up building a kayak, but it did take up a lot of space in the shop for a very long time. I'm very grateful for that experience. I think it's very unique or rare to have a space where you can kind of go in with little to no experience and have very like patient and kind instructors who will show you what to do essentially. And I did learn a lot in the process. I learned about kind of like the basics of woodworking, and that I'm hoping that I can use in later projects.
Hi, I'm Chitra. I'm a 22 and I'm a jewelry studio student assistant. I made my jellyfish earrings, which I am actually wearing right now, because I wanted to make a shape from nature that was simple and recognizable, but still a bit uncommon. The most challenging thing for me when I was making these earrings was figuring out how to make them kinetic, like figuring out how to give them, a little bit of movement so that they're a bit more true to nature. And I actually had to learn a whole new metalworking technique to do that. I had to learn how to use heat to ball up the ends of wire. And something I learned from this project was that you don't need to be literal when you're trying to imitate a shape, especially one that's pretty recognizable. That being said, sometimes people tell me they look like showers more than they look like jellyfish, but I'm still really happy with them. I consider them a success.
Hey, I'm Liza. I'm a 22 from Orono, Maine, and today I'm going to be talking about some of the pieces I've made in the Dartmouth Ceramic Studio. I've been doing pottery for a little over a year, and over that time I've learned how to throw a lot of bigger stuff and work with more clay and use more intricate and advanced design techniques, but still some of my favorite pieces are the more simple and functional pieces that I've made. So I want to talk about these two mugs that I made my parents for Christmas. And this was the first time that I had tried pulling the handle off of the form instead of pulling it on the side and then attaching it after the fact. And I love how this turned out. It just looks so seamless to me, and I think that's the whole point of a mug, is for the handle to really feel like it's a part of it. And I also really like the glaze combo that I used, which is oxblood with some sort of orange on top, and I like how it's separated out into this speckled effect. So yeah, I think these are really beautiful, and one of the great things about being at home has been being able to see my parents use them every day. Thanks, bye.
Hi, my name is Max, and this project was part of an Architecture 1 class assignment with the aim of providing both seating as well as storage for yoga mats and meditation cushions for the Crossroads Academy outdoor learning treehouse classroom. It was supposed to be a simple design and made out of wood. One challenge was getting the curves that I wanted, and this was accomplished by routing individual pieces of plywood together and then gluing them together, which was a challenge based on the rapid time of setting for the glue. And if I did again, one interesting thing I'd like to try would be attempting to curve a longer length of plywood into the same shape. And overall, it was made possible with the phenomenal guidance and assistance from the woodshop staff and their patience in guiding me through learning machines that I had no prior experience with. So an enormous thank you to them for making the project possible.
Hi, I'm Victoria Quinn. I'm a 22 and I'm a student assistant at the Ceramic Studio. This past fall term, I made an earthenware pot for my Archaeology of the Middle East class. So it was a hand-built, coiled, and pinched replica of an 11th century BC Philistine-style bell-shaped bowl, and I made it as part of a final research project. So it was exciting to build because I don't tend to work in coils, and this was definitely the largest scale coil project I had ever done. It's also a lot more time consuming than building on the wheel, so I enjoyed being able to invest multiple days of work into building this one piece. I do hope to be able to continue using coiling in my future work, especially this summer when I may be stuck here at home without access to a pottery wheel.
My main focus in the woodshop over the past 3 years has been making musical instruments. I started my freshman year when I got the notion to build a box violin, a far more ambitious project than I probably should have started with. From there I continued with string instruments, designing and building an electroacoustic zither for Engine 17, a jerry can dulcitar, which is a cross between a mountain dulcimer and a guitar, and then my longest running project, an open back banjo, which is still very much in progress. In each new instrument, I have applied what I have learned in previous projects. My desire to build instruments is two-sided. First, instruments are projects that never really stop. You might have finished building it, but then you have to learn how to actually play it. You can continually engage with the instrument. It's not like a bowl that after construction then serves a passive functional role. Second, each part of the instrument brings a new challenge and a new skill to learn. On just the banjo alone, I've learned to inlay, bend and laminate a hoop, and shape curved surfaces on the neck. And the staff in the woodshop have been fantastic at helping me problem solve each of these unique challenges. The thing about instruments is that for the most part, each technique is only used in one part. which is unlike a table where each leg is identical, and I find the constantly changing nature of the project to be quite engaging. The problems that I've encountered with these instruments exercise my brains in ways that just don't happen in the classroom, ski trails, or lab, and this makes the woodshop a retreat for me from my busy Dartmouth life.